Dragon Ball Super, Chapter 89. A rival appears. Whoop-de-whoop.
Super dope. Welcome into Dragon Ball Super Dope.
With Raysean. Okay.
Welcome into Dragon Ball Super Dope. My name is Kyle with Raysean. Thank you for checking this out. Raysean, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, guys. I'm feeling great. Amazing. Radical, dude.
Radical, dude. I love it. You know what? We just had a real fun pre-show. We had one of the greatest Raysean rants that I've ever heard in my life about his fear of flying and mass stabbings. It was a beautiful marriage of two completely unrelated topics. It somehow worked. We sang some Outcasts. We talked some shit. It was a really good pre-show. If you want to support the show, patreon.com/Dragon Ball Super Dope gets you that pre-show. Go check it out. But we're here today to talk about Chapter 89 of Dragon Ball Super Manga. A rival appears. Still in the midst of this Goten and Trunks arc. What's cool is we got it a day earlier than originally expected. We're recording this on Thursday, the 19th. So this will probably be up a little bit earlier for the patrons, but you're hearing this early next week. Hope you enjoyed the chapter. I certainly did. Ray, what did you think of this Goten and Trunks chapter? Some people are loving it like me. Other people absolutely are fucking hating this weird little spell of slice of life, low stakes stuff. How are you feeling about this Goten and Trunks stuff so far?
Right now, I think it's fun. I think it's like a real fun type of atmosphere. You're kind of seeing a different look into what's happening in the background scenes when Goku and Vegeta are on another planet doing shit. Like, we always wondering, like, what are the other characters doing? We're kind of seeing that right now. And I just like how they're kind of building a different kind of story, or they are like the things we didn't see in the movie, because I think it's kind of interesting. Like, you get to kind of see a new android gets built in this chapter and stuff like that. And it's just, I think it's a really cool. I think the whole idea of the superheroes is kind of like copycat a little bit, but I think it's interesting the way they're doing it, and the way it's looked not as goofy when Gohan did it.
So, what copycat of what? Of Saiyaman, or do you think like
of Saiyaman, of Gohan's type of his childhood thing? But I think they're giving these characters more time and giving us more personality out of them, and you can kind of see the difference in between the way they're doing things versus how Gohan did things.
Yeah, ton of Gohan callbacks. This was actually in my notes toward the end of the chapter, but since it just kind of came up, there are so many callbacks to the Great Saiyaman arc of Dragon Ball Z. One thing that I really love, though, is these chapters function as a prequel to Dragon Ball Superhero, right? And I remember when the title of the movie dropped, and that was pretty much it, pretty much just the title. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm pretty sure it was an old episode I did. It was me theorizing what this could be about. And I'm like, this would be an awesome opportunity for them to do a Gohan movie. This was like before they said this shit confirmed, you know what I mean? And I thought to myself, it has to be about Great Saiyaman, right? Like, maybe Goku and Vegeta are out of the picture. They're busy doing whatever the fuck over here. And the Great Saiyaman has to return. He's the superhero of the movie, and he fights whoever he fights. Now, that movie obviously becomes what it becomes, right? He's not Saiyaman at all in a movie that's based around these two androids doing superhero gimmicky shit. Missed opportunity in so many levels. Still a fun movie. I enjoyed it, but it was just weird they didn't do any Saiyaman shit at all in that movie. And I think Toyotaro felt the same goddamn way. And he's like, you know what, man? The Gamma androids are so obviously influenced in like Dragon Ball lore and like their character design or whatever. They're so obviously a spin or like a different version of the Great Saiyaman. It's like the Red Ribbon Army version of the Great Saiyaman. And whether or not Toriyama had that in his head when he designed those characters, probably not, but it's kind of how it came out. I saw it, Toyotaro saw it, and now Toyotaro is making it so that way the actual Saiyaman, X1 and X2 in this case, who are obviously influenced by old Gohan and his Saiyaman and his high school arc, generally speaking, with these chapters, how these new Saiyaman influence the Gamma androids. It's like this beautiful fucking way to tie everything together. I seriously love the thought process. I assume very much on purpose from Toyotaro to like make everything more consistent. Something again, it was a missed opportunity to not do it. And the way that he's tying it together is really fucking cool. I liked it.
Yeah, that is an interesting take on him building the gammas off of Goten and Trunks after kind of seeing them and really liking them, which to me is one of the funniest things because he's really like memorized by like their poses and like, oh bro, they're so cool. Did you get their autograph type shit? Like I'm sitting here like, where are you fighting these guys? Like,
right.
And it's kind of have you like trying to figure out what side is Dr. Hito on? Like, what is he actually trying to do type shit? But I think what would be really interesting about Dr. Ito if like they were like his like top favorite superhero was Sandman or something like was Gohan. That would be the most interesting thing ever.
If he somehow had like footage from back then of the OG Great Saiyaman, that'd be sick as hell. Like I kind of had that thought throughout. I'm like, I wonder, like once they reveal that Beta, and I realize we're kind of just jumping right in, not going through chronologically, but there's a moment where Beta, like you see that Hito's watching the video through his eyes. And I'm like, oh, dude, he's going to see the Saiyaman. I wonder if he's going to make a comment about how cool they are. And sure enough, he fucking does. And like the last panel, he's like, that cape, dude, that cape was sick.
I was like, man, he's like, you can tell he's kind of a kid too. He's just a really interesting character. And I like how the way he went about it. Like he sent this android there. He didn't do like, well, I mean, he could have did some crazy damage. He's just lucky that I guess they were pretty strong. But I guess did you want to do this in order or are we just going?
Sort of, but you know what though? You kind of bring me to how I wanted to start is the character Beta, right? So the two big things, right? Mai is now going to school with Trunks and the gang, Blue Hall High School, cool. She transfers in, transfer student. And then right after that, a second transfer student is Beta. So
a hot guy.
He's a hot guy. And Rula makes that comment. Dude, listen, we really are. I love this. This is fun to not work in a line. Fuck lines, dog. But Beta is introduced and Rula hops in and goes, oh, we've got a hot guy too. Nice. And when I read that, I said to myself, dude, Rula's trying to get down with Mai and Beta. Rula goes both ways. Toyotaro just introduced the first canonically bisexual character in Dragon Ball. I think, maybe, probably not. I'm reading into it too much, but you know what? I'm taking the dub, dude. That's official. That's canon. Deal with it.
I don't remember how that was exactly written, but if that was written like that, that is interesting. I just thought it was great about this whole thing is we finally get a confirmation of Mai being the same age as Trunks and them, which we were always kind of hoping and thinking she looks their age, but we kind of now like, okay, she's in there. She is Trunks' age. They're in the same class type shit. And I don't know how smart she is, but there was a scene that happened before this where you have Trunks trying to look into the disc that Dr. Hito and it like put a what you call that? A virus on the computer. And Bola comes out of nowhere and like takes it off. And like Bulma was like, I see who takes off of me more and who takes off of me. I thought that was an interesting scene.
Here's the thing, man. They have a line about it last chapter about how Trunks is bad with computers. And honestly, dude, like
a lot of people smart.
Here's the thing. Like I thought that in Dragon Ball GT, he grows up to fucking like run Capsule Corp and he's brilliant in his own right. Probably not Bulma level brilliant, but he's like pretty capable. So for him to not have like any computer skills at all, thought it was an interesting choice. To the point where I thought maybe it was a joke when they mentioned it last chapter, but no, they reinforce it in this one. He gets a fucking virus on his computer. So they do two things.
His sister.
Buddha. So Bra comes in and fixes it. It doesn't matter. They're both the same name. It's Buddha, Bra, Bura versus Bra. It's all the same. Or Bulla, depending on the spellings and which you prefer. I tend to say Buddha more, but it's Bra. It's the same shit. Anyway, my point is, Bra's getting some kind of fucking like character traits that. I mean, in Dragon Ball GT, you don't see her a ton, but she's like very materialistic. Vegeta takes her out shopping. She's like very high maintenance and high spirited like Bulma is, but like there's no inkling of like her having skills of value and technology or anything like that. So I'm glad they're giving her that very early on. Sucks for taking it from Trunks, but I get it. But Bulma, excuse me, does say like, you've inherited so many things from your father. And I'm like, yeah. And let's hope that since you've decided to take away his computer abilities, that instead he truly is just like his dad and is like a real warrior. And this kind of like puts him on the path or whatever. I don't know. Probably not. Just me overthinking shit.
I think so, because I feel like this Trunks is more into like fighting than like taking over Capsule Corp.
He's into being cool, which I think all teenagers are kind of into, but I don't know. How does he come out on the other side of it? That's really, does he come out as like,
because I mean, if you think about it, running Capsule Corp is a better gig in the long run than, you know, being a fighter. I mean, look at Goku. I mean, yeah. Like, you know, he's doing all the saving of the world. He's still living like a farmer. So
yeah. Like flies his tractor around. He has to go to the market and sell his turnips and radishes and shit. It's like
Bulma and her family, richest people on the whole planet. I don't think they ever really worry about anything. So I mean,
they don't.
If I were you, I'm definitely taking that spot. Or I mean, I guess Bra said if he don't want it, I got it. So like,
yeah,
so
it would be cool to see her grow up and run Capsule Corp instead. Because even like in GT, Trunks is like, he's capable and he's like the youngest company president and he's really good at his job. But like the second he gets in his office and closes the door, he's like, this shit's boring. And he jumps out the window and fucking puts on his kerchief and like his cool schoolboy Trunks socks and shorts and his jacket. And he's like, fuck this suit. And he gets rid of the suit. And he flies and he flies. And then Super 17 shoots him down. Actually, that's a lie. I think Super 17 murks him while he's driving in his car. I don't know. Either way, man. Beta is interesting to me because even though Trunks and Goten so easily handle him throughout this entire chapter, to the point where it's really fun and funny, like the basketball scene, okay, it's fine. I didn't need.
He got him with the little
yeah. I feel like it didn't need to be as long as it was, but whatever, it worked.
It goes with the whole high school. He trying to get Mai's attention. It goes with all that. So I feel
100%. And it's another callback to Gohan using his fucking skills to be a really good baseball player. And like that filler arc where he like hops up and like catches a fucking fly ball and flies up and like doesn't really think about it. Or, oh no, there's another baseball episode in Dragon Ball Super where like Trunks shoots the ki blast or whatever to like drop it down and catch it. But yeah, Gohan uses his skills. Trunks is just doing a version of that. But there's two other ones that happen so quickly that I thought were way funnier that I wish were a little bit longer instead. The first one's the football. So like,
oh yeah,
Beta throws a football at him, misses his fucking head. It like he ducks and like pretends to tie his shoe. It hits a fire extinguisher. Like that's funny. But the real funny one, man, it was the soup. The soup scene.
Oh, that's not mine, but I'll tell you what mine says after this.
Like, what do you think throwing a bowl of soup on Trunks is gonna do? Like, humiliate him? Like, is you think it's gonna hurt him? Like, and Trunks played it so goddamn cool where he just moves his head and positions himself where the soup just goes into his own bowl. He's like, "Thank you. I wanted a jumbo portion anyway." Like, so motherfucking funny, man. Beta's power scaling. It's something I kind of wondered about, like because they so easily handle him. I kind of wonder like what sort of data Dr. Hito is sort of working with. Because he's obviously working off old Jiro shit, right? And you can draw the comparison, like he kind of looks like he's blonde with blue eyes, I assume. So you could say like he kind of looks like he could be a male version of Android 18. Maybe it's like I heard somebody say some dumb, you know who it was? Dragon Ball exclusives, who I will take the next 30 seconds to shit on because I can't goddamn stand him. When the spoilers came out and it was revealed he was an android, he's like, "Oh, is this one of Android 17's many kids or whatever?" Even though like, you know, he looks like 18. I don't know, dog. Like it's supposed to be like a reference to those two 100%, or even a reference to General Blue from the Red Ribbon Army. He has that blonde hair, similar kind of
more like him.
Kind of. I think he's got, you know who else he looks like who's completely unrelated to the Red Ribbon Army is remember Barry Kahn from Dragon Ball Super? The Dragon Ball Super Saiyaman arc with the movie.
Yeah,
who
he
he
do
like
kind
gets
of.
taken over by that alien motherfucker. He kind of looks like Barry Khan. He
Yeah, I
looks like
see
a
it.
bunch of Dragon Ball characters, but he exclusives floated the idea like maybe it's one of 17's kids, and it's like dumbass. No. And then I'll take the next 15 seconds to shit on him in that, he is somebody who puts out content about like spoilers and stuff, and that's like the main traction he gets. A lot of people do. Dragon Ball Chronicles, right? He's another guy who does translations, and he put out a graphic from that Toyotaro interview. I did a podcast about it a couple weeks back. Toyotaro put out a graphic of all the schoolmates that Goten and Trunks have. And Chronicles mistranslated one of the characters' names, the bigger dude with the glasses. His name is Scale. It says Scale in the chapter today in this translation. He says Scale. Originally, he mistranslated it and thought it was School, Skool. So Chronicles put that out. And within like 8 hours or something, he was like, hey, everybody, I mistranslated. My bad. It's not School, it's Scale. Exclusives in the meantime, though, picked up Chronicles' bad translation, used it for himself because he's a fucking leech, and put out this graphic where he's labeled School. And like a bunch of people think that motherfucker is now named School. His name's not School. His name is Scale. Anyway, Scale, not School. What's the level of data that Dr. Hito made beta with? I like to think that it's in the level of like OG Dragon Ball level Red Ribbon Army evilness, right? And then the Gamma androids are based on more closely like Android 16, 17, 18, like the more perfected versions of it. And then Cell Max is based off of Cell's technology. I kind of feel like Hito's going through the motions of like graduating through Red Ribbon Army data, tech, whatever it is. Even you could say even those zombie motherfuckers from the last chapter. Android 8 is a Frankenstein made of like a probably not a reanimated corpse, but we know that Frankenstein's monster is made of a reanimated corpse. Could be a callback to that. I just think that everything Hito's doing in these prequel chapters, and again, hats off to Toyotaro, who's handling this fun shit in like a very nuanced kind of way that I totally didn't expect. He's like working through all these red ribbon plot points throughout the history of it in like a very subtle, understated way that if you don't know it, cool. It's fine. It's still, the story still works fine anyway. But like, if you know all these stories, you're like, oh my God, this reminds me of this from the Red Ribbon Army and so on and so forth. That was a long rant. You have anything to say about anything I just said?
What I was going to say is, yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, I think you meant to say.
I do agree with they're using a lot of Red Ribbon Army like plot points and stuff, but when you're saying like the power levels and stuff, I don't think the power levels were built off like the old androids. I think it was probably just built off of the footage he had of them when they came to steal the disc. So he probably just tried to use that information and probably make some androids. Because if I'm going off of the movie, I thought he didn't have any of the data from the Red Ribbon Army until like they came and met up. So I don't know if he does. Maybe he do. But I didn't think he actually had any of the data. So I'm thinking he's going off of what he basically saw through the cameras. And I feel like his machinery or even like the zombies would be on a different level versus like the old ones because this is new technology and new stuff like this. So I think his zombies would beat the shit out of the Red Ribbon Army zombies, like with no problems. Yeah, because they even seem like really, they seem smarter. They able to like talk to him about his plans and stuff, and was like, hey, like, because one of my favorite scenes when we were talking about scenes with him and the android was the one they actually won. And that was the one when they were doing the math. And he was like, yes, we won that. And they was like, how is that going to help us do anything? He was like, I don't care about that. I'm just glad we won.
Just glad we got this one small victory. I forgot all about that one, dude.
And
I was working in threes. That reminds me of that Billy Madison scene where like they go into the academic decathlon at the end of the movie and it's like the music's going. It's like,
all right then, let the academic decathlon begin.
And then Billy Madison's just like,
He's good.
because he does well at everything else except solving a problem on the whiteboard or whatever. I kind of get what you're saying in terms of like the power level stuff. I agree there. I just feel like it's the data he's working with now is like whatever Trunks has on that disk. Like we assume Hito still has that data, right? But I also didn't get the impression that but it's kind of like almost a soft retcon of the movie a little bit. It's like actually Hito was working on this shit before he met Magenta and Carmine at the beginning of that movie when he gets out of jail. Like this arc is going to wrap up. Which is true. It's going to wrap up with him going to jail, presumably. I don't know what the boys and him are going to go at each other about that ends up with Hito in jail, but that'll presumably be the end of this arc and like effectively like end this prequel piece to the movie, right? I guess like I don't know how long I could see this going on. Like if we kind of want to go back to what I said about like him working through the plot beats, like he did the zombies, which we'll say is Android 8. He's now done Beta, which we'll say is like I don't know, General or Commander Blue, right? That psychic motherfucker, or I don't know, any other lower level Android 8, whatever. He also the Beta number 2 thing you could say is like a Commander Black thing as well, because when he jumps in that robot shit, it's another Red Ribbon Army callback to what Commander Black uses to try to kill Goku after he beats Red at the end of that arc, right? That
really looked like the two.
It's the same kind of thing, dude. Like that's actually like I don't know. I don't think it's a secret. I've done a few episodes with Goshen, SS Goshen 4. Like I love old Dragon Ball vintage toys. It's my favorite goddamn thing in the world. I check that shit on eBay constantly. One of the things that I'd love to have that I don't have in my collection is that purple Red Ribbon Robot Army toy that I think Jax put out in like the early 2000s. That's like not a super rare piece, but like it costs a couple bucks. I don't know. Now I'll get one of these days, but I love that that's what Beta 2 ends up being in this chapter, right?
Yep.
So if we keep going with that line of thought, right? The zombies are, that part. What's the next part after Red Ribbon? It would be like a Tao Pai Pai assassin level motherfucker, right? But that's not in Hito's wheelhouse of technology, so maybe we skip over that. 17 and 18, I mean, you could say that what we saw today is like a representation of that in Beta because he looks so closely to them. We're not going to see Cell Max, I don't think, or anything that resembles any of the cell technology. My point is, dude, I don't think this arc is made for very long. I could see this wrapping up and maybe not one chapter. I could see this going another 2 chapters and that being that. Hito's in jail and now we're back to Goku and Vegeta and Broly hopefully getting together and starting to train for Black Frieza.
I mean, that'd be interesting for like a filler chapter to kind of give us some little time where you can have like Goku and Vegeta like already training by this point. So then like you can also do a blend of, I guess, what the movie did and actually show us what Goku. No, because they were just fighting and that. So I don't know. You probably should just do the prequel and then just go to the next arc. I think, I'll go with you, sir.
So like if this arc does serve as a prequel to Superhero, right? Superhero picks up where they're already together with Broly. Maybe we do have like today was a notable chapter because we do not see Goku, Vegeta at all. We don't even really get a reference to them. There's a quick reference to future Trunks with Mai. We'll talk about Mai in a minute. But my point is, if this serves as a prequel to Superhero, maybe in the next 2 chapters, we see Goku and Vegeta be like, yo, we just got our asses handed to us by Black Frieza. Best option we got is to go find Broly. That might be a very quick scene, but I think it serves to reason that we could see that scene happen in the next couple of chapters, to like really effectively set things up for them to be like, and then the events of Dragon Ball Superhero happen. Imagine if like Gamma 2, wait, which one dies? Gamma 2 dies in the movie, right? The blue one. Gamma 1 is the one that sticks around. Imagine like they give us that movie panel like they did with the Broly movie, like Goku, Vegeta, Broly's all fucking hulked out and that's it. The Broly movie happens and then it goes on with the chapter. The superhero movie happens and then Goku and Vegeta come back to Earth afterwards and they're like, what's up guys? What did we miss? And then Piccolo and Gohan are like, well, we can do this shit now. And also we got this new robot buddy who's pretty powerful as well. All right, cool. Let's all go fucking jump Frieza, all 6 of us right now. We got Broly in the fucking back. He's hanging out with Beerus and Whis. Let's go do this. Like, that would be cool as fuck. But I don't know. That's probably like 12-year-old me kind of like getting ahead of myself a little bit. Either way, I think it's going to wrap up pretty soon. I guess we'll see. But the only thing that we didn't really talk about today, we sort of talked about it a little bit, is Mai. So the whole Mai and Trunks thing, a little problematic. Not for me personally, because I love the old women, especially if they still look real fucking hot and young. Good for Trunks. However, the numbers it's bad math. Like, I don't know how old Bulma is when she has Trunks. How old do you think Bulma is when she has Trunks? We could do the math out.
See, I don't think that matters, because you live in a world where you can grant wishes to be brought back to whatever age you want to. So whatever age,
I would imagine that my best case scenario is like 35 to 40 years Trunks is senior. And yeah, she gets wished to a younger age. Fine, but she's still like 35. If he's like 14,
like mentally, yeah, probably.
Mentally, yeah, because she's lived the whole fucking life. She's a goddamn engineer at like the best technology company in the fucking world, and it's so good that she like is a live-in employee who now has to go to school. Like, she's being billed as like this child prodigy, which I love, because she's totally fucking not. But you know, for the purposes of this story, she seems like she is. I always thought the only way you could play this creepy like numbers game with them is like if Trunks is like, "Ooh, what a babe," and she's like, "Nah, this is weird. You're creepy. I'm all set." And she like just totally plays uninterested. And that's like the dynamic of the relationship. And that's just a funny thing they play for comedy. And like, that's the in joke. We all know how weird it is. She just is uninterested. But they've decided to go the other route of, which works in with the whole superhero motif of her. I mean, they also do the future Trunks thing, right? Like, he saves her real quick. She like has a flashback of future Trunks saving her real quick in his face, and like how she's like, "Oh wow." Even that math, dude. If future Trunks in the future is banging Mai in that hell world, she's probably pushing like fucking 60, and he's like probably in his mid-20s. Again, I don't fucking hate on anybody's love. Although, you know what it does make me think of, dude? That Advice Pod episode that we did about that guy who's his dad's boss's daughter like started paying him for sex when he turned 18 or whatever, and now they're married.
I remember that.
Oh, dude, what a fucked up episode that was. It does kind of make me think of that kind of dynamic. My point is, she doesn't realize that Trunks is the Great Saiyaman X1. Doesn't know the secret identity deal, even though I'm pretty sure her boss Pilaf like built the transformation wrist bracelets or whatever. But it's a whole other thing.
That doesn't mean she know. You know what I mean? Because he did
right.
secretly. Remember that?
You're right. I mean, I imagine Pilaf, Mai, and Shrew don't have many secrets between them, but whatever, dude. Yeah, it works. So it's like the Mary Jane Peter Parker thing in the first Spider-Man movie, where like Mary Jane thinks Peter Parker's a fucking wuss and like a weirdo nice kid who lives next door, but she'd never fuck him. But then she sees Spider-Man save a day, and she's like, "Yo, I'd fuck the shit out of Spider-Man." It's that kind of dynamic now. Where Mai totally wants to bang Saiyaman X1, but she's like, "Trunks, get away from me, you fucking weirdo. Why are you so creepy? Can't even fix a computer, idiot." I love it. It's my favorite. Like, if they weren't going to do the thing where she's just completely disinterested, they have to have some kind of romantic tension or whatever. I'm glad this is the route that they've chosen to go, where she's completely unaware that she's attracted to Trunks. She's just attracted to some superhero who saved her life. And now that's something Trunks has to struggle with. Goten in this chapter as well. Dog, when he picks up that fucking truck to get the ball,
like it was nothing. Shows you he's a country boy.
Bro, that's the most Son Goku shit I think I've ever seen in my life. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, my bad.
The car was light."
Yeah, it's one of those light trucks. It's really light. I fucking died, man. I died. It was so good. But he also like saves Trunks from revealing his identity in front of all of his schoolmates later on in the chapter. And like, I don't know, that's a little bit more of a brighter moment that Goku probably wouldn't have had.
Yeah.
But, dude, Goten, this is truly a Trunks story. Like it's Goten and Trunks, sure, but
Yeah,
This is
you
a
got the
Trunks
whole love
story.
angle with Trunks. And which is a little interesting. I like Mai's character. I like her going to school. I like that she's basically in the same class. I don't know if Trunks is in like an elite school type of shit. So I'm not gonna know because I mean Goten's there too. So I don't know. Goten might be smart too, but he still has his little country boy moments, just like Gohan, when you just do some random shit and you're like, what the fuck? No normal human can do that. Then I
Yeah.
like that even the fight scene when he was fighting the android and he's just really just fighting defensively, but not really doing nothing.
Not showing off. Yeah.
Which, if anything, I feel like he really was showing off because he had to dodge all that shit that was coming towards him. So I would have been like, what the fuck is, bro? That nigga fast as hell. If I was a football coach, I'm like, we signing his ass up this year. Trunks is interesting. I think he's just an interesting character. Just seeing him go into the Saiyaman outfit to help Goten because he didn't want to help Goten in that situation. Then the thing attacked Mai. He goes to save. Actually, Goten comes in and has to help him to be able to save Mai because
the bottom legs come off and
start shooting off like missiles and shit, and he had to go and stop that.
Yo, that Trunks moment where he catches all the missiles, I was just like, man, they could clown this fucking guy right now, but they're like kind of holding back because they're at school and like Trunks isn't really concerned about whooping his ass so much as he is like looking cool in front of Mai. And when he caught like a dozen missiles like that, he's like, what the fuck? Catches them all like it's nothing. I was like, dude, hell yeah. This is the kind of Dragon Ball. I almost said Dragon Ball Z. This is the type of Dragon Ball that is just so fun to me. Like dynamics between characters. Sometimes it's old characters we've known for a long time. Other times it's just like Trunks, who we know, versus like some jerk off at his school. And it's like, Trunks, you could take care of this in an instant if you wanted, but you know, he has all these like rules that he puts on himself. It's fun, man. It's fun.
I like this Dragon Ball. It's been fun to read.
Anybody who's not having fun with this is probably somebody who, I don't know, is interested in stuff in Dragon Ball that I'm just not
hate babies. They probably hate babies.
Yeah, they're probably from Kentucky. Yeah. I feel bad, man. I shit on Kentucky all the time. And I know why. It's because of your senator, Mitch McConnell. And also like all the terrible statistics that Kentucky has as a state in terms of like what they take from the federal government versus what they contribute to the federal government. That's not a statement on people who actually live in Kentucky so much as it is like Kentucky as a state doesn't seem like it's got its act together, you know what I mean? But it's also like in the South-ish, right? It's like, yeah, it's the South.
Right next to me.
It is right next to you, right? Yeah. Also, Carlton. What's up, Carlton? Carlton had one of his worst experiences of his life. It's not my story to tell. We never told it on an old podcast. I wish that we had. But Carlton almost got murdered there by a bunch of like, you know, gay hating Southerners once when he was like 18. That's a whole other story. But when I say Kentucky Dragon Ball fans, I do kind of feel like I'm being rude, but like, you know, I guess what I mean broadly speaking is like you probably watch that shit on Toonami, prefer a dub, prefer the Bruce Falconer score, love the Broly movies, and love when there's a lot of blood and excessive violence. That in my brain is like a quick little checklist of what a Kentucky Dragon Ball fan is. So I just felt like I had to explain that a little bit because I feel like I shit on Kentucky a lot, and I know that we have listeners in Kentucky. Understand like a Kentucky Dragon Ball.
We're not talking about you.
A Kentucky Dragon Ball fan could be from Rhode Island, where I live. They could be from California. Kentucky Dragon Ball fan isn't about the geography so much as it is what they enjoy about Dragon Ball.
The ignorance.
Sometimes, yeah. They enjoy, I don't know. They just enjoy the shit that I don't enjoy. And it's like usually the excess and blood and swearing. They're like, yo, Disturbed did a song in the Lord Slug movie. That's the greatest Dragon Ball movie of all time. Because I'm down with the sickness. Shit like that, you know? Are you down with the sickness, Ray?
No, I'm not down with it.
That's good, dog. It's good to stay healthy. So that's pretty much chapter 89. I don't think I missed anything. I mean, we kind of did talk a lot of out of order shit, but that's mostly me being unfocused. I got a lot of stuff going on. I haven't talked to you in like a few weeks, dude. Advice Pod's on break right now, but we'll be back to recording that in a few weeks. Shout out Kelly. Text me back. What do you got going on? Did you got anything going on in your life, in your podcast world you want to plug?
Yeah, I got 2 interviews coming out soon. One is with an anime voice actor, and another one is with a guy who's creating a book that I think you guys will be very interested in. So stay tuned. It's going to be coming out soon. I don't have specific dates yet, but
Did you
we're
already
going to
do
say
the
beginning of
interviews?
February. I haven't done them yet.
Oh, okay.
They're coming up. They're
Word.
really
We
this
won't-
weekend.
We won't say names though, just in case anything falls through. But I am curious. You have to tell me when we hit stop. Who you talking with? Curious who's going to be on the Raysean Gatson anime podcast. I'm also very curious how I have not gotten any invites to be on your show in such a long time.
That is interesting. Yeah, you haven't been on my show in a while. What's his name? I said, can we finish the GT thing? I was like, oh, maybe.
Anime Stash, that guy.
Yeah.
Listen, I'd be down to do GT episodes again, but you can't plan to do like 15 episodes. Like, let's pick a stretch of like 5 episodes.
Yeah.
And that'll be a nice like hour and a half, 2-hour podcast. That night we recorded, man, that was one of the longest recorded sessions. And like, we were talking about shit I liked with you, who is my friend. I kind of know Josh, he's cool, but like, I wanted to cry by the end of that. There's so much Dragon Ball GT. When I was watching it, I wanted to cry about that too. Although, I don't know, man. GT gets a little too much hate, I feel. It's not all good. Actually, most of it, if you look at it from like a statistical perspective, I think most of it's bad. But some of Dragon Ball GT is some of the best Dragon Ball. There are moments that are like some of the best Dragon Ball moments. I made Feds, shout out Feds. I made Feds watch episode 64 of Dragon Ball GT a few weeks ago when we were hanging out because he'd never seen it. And seriously, dude, it moves me to tears every time. It's one of the most beautiful fucking things. I should do a whole episode on 64 at GT and my initial experience with it as a kid and how I didn't have any subtitles, so I had to make up what I thought was going on. Don't laugh at me, Raysean. I didn't have the benefit of the internet. I'm old.
Well, that's just funny to me, just to watch something and just love it so much that you just create your own dialogue. And you know what? I'm going to beat that bad guy's ass. I'm going to beat his ass too. This is funny. That's right.
It's not even like that, dude. It's like, you know, there's so much ambiguity in the last episode. I'm kind of blowing the fucking story here. I mean,
let's don't do that. We're going to be doing a GT episode soon. All right. We're not going to do that.
I mean, all right, good. The ambiguity in 64
coming
is
soon.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's gonna do it for this episode of Dragon Ball Super Dope, I guess. Do I have anything? You don't play Kakarot, do you? The Xbox or no? I know that Bardock DLC came out. A lot of people are saying it's cool. I probably won't get it, but I am very interested in that 23rd Budokai DLC announcement they made. That's now been officially announced, not just leaked from the people. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I know I got to do some more episodes of Super Dope. Yo, you caught up on My Hero Academia?
We could do something.
We have to do something. Like, it would have been perfect to do one 2 weeks ago for like a mid-season recap, but like, I thought they were going to take a break now that they got to the halfway point and like kind of coast for a few episodes before shit picks back up going into the end of the season. Nope. No fucking breaks, dude. No fucking breaks. Season 6 of My Hero Academia is one of the greatest fucking seasons of anime I've ever seen. I know I don't watch enough anime, blah, blah, blah. Dog, I've been watching anime since I was fucking 4 years old. I've watched more than a handful. This is one of the most enjoyable seasons of anime ever. And I never thought they were going to top seasons 2 or 3 of the show. But they topped it handily, and they've topped pretty much. Dude, this shit tops like season 1 of Death Note for me. Granted, you have to know everything about My Hero Academia. Like, you have to know all of the first 5 seasons in and out to truly appreciate and soak up everything they're doing in this 6th season. But dog, it is the best season of anime I think I've ever watched. And I'm just so amped to see how it rounds out. I'm almost kind of happy I didn't read the manga during the break because I'm loving it week to week, dude. It's so goddamn good. But yeah, that's my endorsement, my spoiler-free endorsement of season 6 of My Hero Academia. If you're not watching it, you should. You fucking should.
Get me hyped.
I'm amped right now. I'm gonna go watch it right now. But yeah, that's super dope. Make sure you rate and subscribe wherever you're listening to this. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube. There might be a video on YouTube. I don't know. We're trying a new thing tonight with video stuff.
I think I've made a lot of weird faces, so it's gonna be interesting if you use this.
Nah, Doug, it's fine. You're fine on camera. I am not fine on camera. I have a tough time on camera. A, because of how I look, but also it makes me more self-conscious of pretty much everything. So I just prefer to do audio only stuff. But 2023, baby, we got a lot going on. And one of my things to try to get better at this year is just being on camera. So we'll see.
New year, new me.
It's not even new year, new me. It's new year. Let's try to add some fucking new things to the old me. The old me is pretty cool. And now let's just learn some new stuff and get better. I'm trying to, quit smoking, trying to fucking save money, trying to fucking get good on camera. Not good on camera, comfortable on camera, which I'm not. So.
AKA, he's getting ready for the OnlyFans. Get ready, Dragon Ball fans.
Yeah, I'm going to fucking
no, I'm just playing.
Whip my dick out and sell pictures of it for $5 a pop. Onlyfans.com/Dragon Ball Super Dope. Will you subscribe, Ray?
No.
Fucking racist.
Whatever you call me. But I would never, ever want to see what was under that shirt. Even if God told me, he was like, you need that to get you in heaven, I would be like, I will go hell in the expressway.
Come on, man. You're gonna do that. It's not that fucking. Come on, dude.
I'm just
that was
sorry.
Kind of hurtful.
You think so? Maybe if I was on a Walmart and I accidentally just hit the wrong stool and saw some shit, then I'd probably be like, oh damn, this is just some crazy Walmart shit. But I'm
still so hurt by what you said before that everything that you said afterwards made literally zero sense to me. You know what? I don't think it made sense to listeners as well because it hurt them, cut them deep.
Oh, well, sorry, guys. I'm just letting you guys know. I feel like a lot of you are like, you said exactly what I was thinking because,
Goddamn. Well, if you want to support the show without having to look at pictures of me without a shirt on and or my dick, patreon.com/Dragon Ball Super Dope. I'm actually fucking around with the idea. I mean, I think about it a lot, but I never actually pull the trigger on it because it's a lot of work. But kind of like overhauling what's going to be on the Patreon versus what's going to be on the public feed. But in the interim, you go support the show, $5 a month. You can get access to episodes early, uncut stuff where, doesn't make the public cut. We'll usually do a little pre-show shit, catching up with people when we record. And you get the satisfaction of knowing that you are supporting your favorite Dragon Ball podcast. Presumably, I don't know. Do you listen to other Dragon Ball podcasts, Mr. or Miss Listener? If you do, are they as good as this one? Probably. And that's fine. But you know what? Do they need your $5 as badly as I do? Probably fucking not. So choose wisely. Patreon.com/Dragon Ball Super Dope. There is a link in the show notes. Raysean, I thank you, my friend. I will talk to you next time, okay?
All right.
Patreon.com/Dragon Ball Super Dope. I don't think I've ever sang my Patreon URL as the ending to this song. If I have, somebody correct me, but I felt kind of weird, so let me just... Late stage capitalism will consume us all. Yeah, that's fine.
Don't be a butt cheek.
Hey, wrong show.